Everyone talks about FNAF fan games, but you rarely see anyone talk about other types of fan-made content for the series. So I decided to make a video about a few notable fan-made cartoons. Hope you enjoy the nonsensical ramblings, because this is what you signed up for.
The iguanodons now are ready to mate.
I promise this counts. So, you know Mob Entertainment? They used to be known as Enchanted Mob, a Minecraft animation channel that blew up after making an animation for My Little Pony's FNAF song Survive the Night. And they eventually recruited a few other animation channels with a Minecraft focus, including today's topic, Examination. Though with how much content they shared, they all might as well be copies of the same channel, but Examination uploaded the most often. The channel's bread and butter for the longest time was the Fazbear and Friends show, mostly a sub-series of shorts which quickly took the place of the actual episodes that were made. I won't be discussing the controversy surrounding Mob Entertainment and an animator named Ethan. Everyone and their mother talked about it a while back, and apparently Ethan and the Mob members talked it out behind the scenes, so no need to beat a dead horse. I also won't be talking about Mob Entertainment's Poppy Playtime games, since that'll likely be a topic for another video. Anyway, let's talk about the episodes before we head on to the shorts. No. Episode 1 focuses on the simple dilemma of Foxy losing his hook, and it even explains why he has an eye patch. Which is a pretty neat thing that happens again in episode 3, where Bonnie gets his guitar, but in that episode it's the focus and not something that just sorta happens along the way. Showing how these incarnations of the characters got the items they're associated with is a fun inclusion, although Foxy's was definitely more painful. This episode's fine, I don't really have anything to complain about. Episode 2 has a bunch of gross out in it since the premise is Chica is sick and that's all it does. Definitely the weakest one. They could have done better than this, like having the others take turns doing the jobs Chica normally would and failing miserably. But whatever. Episode 3 has, like I said before, Barney getting his electric guitar. It's okay, and a good reminder for why I'm not a big fan of most Minecraft animations. Seeing humans in this style move so fluidly just looks off to me, but I will go into a bit more detail on that later. Episode 4's plot features Circus Phoebe leaving her friends for dead and making herself the center of attention at Fazbear's. Not gonna lie, this episode is probably my favorite of the bunch. It's got the most jokes that land for me, even if that doesn't mean a lot.
Hey boys! And girl.
To my surprise, these episodes aren't actually that bad. They're pretty much an average kid-friendly cartoon show with good animation and some decent jokes here and there. Even the characterizations are pretty fun. The only big flaws are the, writing being weak for the most part, and the art style being too Minecrafty for my liking. But honestly, I'm a little surprised. Is it great? Not really. But it's not bottom of the barrel like I was expecting. The shorts, however, are a different story. Now, you may see the length of episode 4 and think to yourself, oh wow, half an hour of animation? Well, technically you're right, but episode 4 is actually 10 minutes long. So what about the remaining 20 minutes? Well, are you ready for this? They just crammed the other 3 episodes into the video. Yeah, they went there. Also, this probably isn't important, but I want to point out that with the way they're ordered, if you watch the entirety of episode 4, you're watching all 4 episodes in reverse order, and that really irks me in a weird way. But not as much as the overall art direction. I know that Minecraft animations are the bread and butter of these studios, but I would have preferred a more unique art style. The FNAF characters are definitely stylized better than the actual humans, so that's probably the best I'll get. The way that the Minecraft humans look and move also gives me intense dorkly vibes. Am I the only one who feels that? Okay, now onto the shorts. I think the shorts that were made after episode 3 are what you would call the beginning of the clip compilations that would slowly grow larger and larger with each new upload as more clips were made and added, which would utterly take over the channels under Mob's ownership, like just a year later. Episode 4 having all the other episodes packed in only solidified it as their new main strategy. If the version A and B thing they did before wasn't bad enough, they pretty much started uploading the same shorts over and over in multiple compilations with different clickbaity thumbnails. And some of them have gore which is never featured in any of the shorts. Cowards. I get that animation is a lengthy, tedious process that isn't rewarded by YouTube at all, but please have some fucking dignity. These thumbnails pretty much reflect the quality of the shorts. They started off okay and fairly accurate to what actually happens to the newly introduced short for that video, but they definitely got worse as more and more of them were presumably rushed so Zach Belenga could buy another yacht he'll never use. and I'm not watching every single upload, but it got to the point where they actually made animations with the likes of the fucking Rainbow Friends. So I think it's a very safe bet that the quality tanks severely. Sure, the series wasn't a masterpiece to begin with, but it's a shame it became this bad. It sort of reminds me of how Teen Titans Go started off as okay before spiraling into what people know it best for today. Also, they apparently tried to defend Cognitive Ban in the short ones, which I don't really see it. I think the short in question was just an excuse for Zach P to do his Jumbo Josh voice, which are completely justified by the way. The addition of characters from other indie games, horror or not, isn't that bad of an idea. It just needs better execution than what we got. There's still good jokes every once in a while, but they're a lot less common than before. Like this short here. This single shot of Huggy Wuggy sitting there with that expression is the only funny thing in the entire minute and a half short. That is sad. What's also sad is the models for the Glamrock animatronics. What the fuck went wrong here? Why aren't they stylized like the others? They look like actual Minecraft skins the animators just pulled into Blender and called it a day. Even Fanny looks more in line with the others, and she's from the same game as the Glamrocks. Though these shorts seem to have it out for Foxy. Like, jeez man, would have kept the new whoever do to you.
Pardon?
The shorts can also get weirdly horny at times. Like, I'm not joking, there's one that ends with the Meatly walking through a portal to presumably bang Alice Angel. I mean, I don't blame him. But still. As far as I'm aware, they never go anywhere beyond what shows like, say, Animaniacs and Gumball do. Mostly going by the actual episodes and whatever shorts I was able to stick through. These shorts have their fair share of dirty jokes, and kids don't notice that sort of thing until they get much older. That's why stuff like the Frankenfurt's joke works so well. That doesn't excuse some of the bizarre Elsa Kate stuff like the bike transformations, for example, but I'm getting off topic. Where's the animation now? Well, as of this draft of the script, Fazbear and Friends has taken a back seat, as the channel's focus is going back to music videos rather than weekly shorts. They did, however, clarify that the shorts will still be a thing, they'll just be much less common and hopefully less bad. Zamination is also working on their own original cartoon with robots, so I'll definitely be curious to see how that goes.
It also appears that Mob Entertainment has started a new Minecraft-based show featuring original characters.
The last thing I'll mention is a minor controversy that still boggles my mind. Some people had concern over Sam/Mom's version of Suckus Baby being kinda sexualized, and what did Zach Belanger, the CEO of the studio, if I remember correctly, do? Say something reasonable like Circus Baby isn't possessed and not canon, or Circus Baby and Elizabeth Afton are 18+ in our videos? No, not at all. He went to Twitter and said the stupidest shit he possibly could have said in this situation. Here it is. What kind of fucking logic is that? Just say she's not a minor in your continuity, or that Circus Baby isn't possessed. I'm pretty sure none of the other parts of the show are possessed in the first place, so why bother with an explanation like this? I have a theory this was purposefully made to anger the people who were concerned in the first place. Zach B strikes me as the kind of person who would follow the no such thing as bad publicity mindset. I have no proof, but that seems likely to me. Overall, despite how bad the shorts got, I would rather let kids watch this than something like Cocomelon or actual Elsagate stuff. I know those are very low bars, but compared to them, Fazbear and Friends and everything else under the Mob Entertainment YouTube umbrella look like the goddamn Pixar quality. In terms of animation at least. Here's hoping that when the shorts do start getting made again, whenever they're made again, that the writing quality actually comes back to being a bit decent, and hopefully maybe even better. I guess only time will tell. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the Hottest Dog Special Strike series, but upon going back to his, channel after not seeing it in a while, 2 of the Special Strike videos have either been privatized or unlisted. The only one that's still up is Special Strike Rebellion, the finale. So this is apparently because one of the voice actors was a groomer, but his character has so little screen time compared to everyone else, if I remember correctly at least, that I don't understand why 2 of the videos were hidden. I'm pretty sure he's in the finale as well, but whatever. So, since I can't really talk about it with a big chunk of the series being completely gone, I'll just briefly talk about the fandom's animation scene in general. While 2D animations do exist in the fandom, one of which is going to be talked about pretty soon, 3D seems to be the most common dimension being used by the fanbase. With programs like SFM and Blender being free and having a ton of resources available, I can see why. though SFM is probably the most used because of it being purely an animation and posing tool. So you'll see most 3D FNAF animations made in that one. Whether they use SFM, Blender, or animate in 2D, a lot of these animators are really good at what they do. And they should be given all the love and respect they deserve, because animation's fucking hard. Trust me, I've tried it myself, it's not fun. Before we move on, I think I should quickly talk about a different fan series made in SFM. The Interview series by J-Gems is what you'd probably expect from the name. It starts off as a series of interviews with different animatronics from the franchise, from Springtrap all the way to the Nightmares, who I guess are real in this canon. I love all of these interpretations of the characters. The writing, the animation, and voice acting really gives them so much personality even if the video is only a few minutes long. And this goes for other videos on the channel, some of them are just straight up hilarious.
Move, Chica, you fat fuck.
It eventually deviates from this interview formula as the plot develops, but I don't want to give anything away, because you should go watch it for yourself. Everything about it gets better with each video, and I'm looking forward to what J-Gems does next, FNAF or otherwise.
Yeah, that's going in my cringe compilation.
Tony Krynite is a furry artist and animator who's been around for a while, creating artwork and short animations that pretty much always star anthropomorphic animals. On January 12, 2015, Tony released a short animation based on Five Nights at Freddy's, only a few months after the second game was released. This would end up being the first of many, as FNAF is pretty much all his channel is known for now. The first animation was actually two firsts for Toby. Aside of being his first FNAF animation, it would soon become the first installment of a series with its own ongoing story that developed and eventually concluded over the next 3 years, coming to its end on December 1st, 2018. And the series was called Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, it's just the name of the franchise, there's no subtitle or anything. Each episode only lasts from a minute to a few, with 6.5 being the longest any of them get. So don't expect the length of a Hell of a Boss episode or anything like that. One guy animated this after all, and it's amazing he had the willpower to stick with this project in the first place. Animation is really hard if you didn't know. And speaking of which, it starts off kinda rough, mostly being done in a way that I can only assume was with puppets or motion twins. Not to bump against the method or anything, you can get pretty good animation with puppets. But this is when the series looks and feels the most amateur. The animation certainly gets better as the series goes on. It's really impressive to see Tony's skills improving more and more with each passing episode. What about the story itself? Well, it's a bit of a doozy. It starts with an upset Foxy thinking about an argument he had with Chica. I'm assuming they broke up because when Toy Foxy or Funtime Foxy or Mangle, I'm calling her Mangle because that's what the show calls her, when Mangle approaches Foxy to comfort him, they immediately become a thing. Is that how it works? I don't think he's cheating on Chica or anything, but whether he is or not, she's pretty upset over Foxy being with someone else, to the point where she later mutilates Mangle with a machete. Don't ask where she got that in a pizzeria of all places. But she quickly realizes what she's done and tries to fix her mistake, even getting help from Bonnie, who's apparently a mechanic in this AU. I dig that! But Mangle catches a case of the crazies herself and tries to get revenge on Chica, although Foxy stops her and she goes through a similar realization that Chica did before, running away in shame after looking at the schematics of her body that she had ripped apart in the scuffle. Chica manages to convince Foxy to join her and the trio head off to look for their pal. However, she's isolated herself in an old warehouse that I guess is a part of the pizzeria, but she's not as alone as she thought she was. Also, I don't know where to put this, but there are absolutely no windows in any of the shots that are inside the pizza place. So I'm going to assume that the building is much larger than it needs to be. I'm not making a security breach joke. Anyway, in these early episodes, there's no voice acting, though before I completely switched to voice acting, there were just typical low-quality English dub anime grunts and gasps that, for the most part, they don't need to be there. I can't stand it here, and I can't stand it anywhere else. But the voice acting itself is alright. I think the VAs weren't given the best direction at times, but for the most part, I think everyone did a great job with their roles. Early episodes also used actual copyrighted songs, and I'm not a fan of that. It's lame, and Toby must have thought the same. Or maybe he was sick of the copy strike claims he was no doubt getting, and stopped doing it pretty quickly. Though he does put one at the end of the final episode, god damn it! Alright, spoilers ahead, so if you want to watch the rest and experience the story for yourself, the link to a movie-like compilation that Tony himself made for the episodes will be in the description. I'll give you 5 seconds. Did you watch it? Well, you better have. So yeah, Springtrap is here. He's got blood and guts inside him, but the animatronics in this AU aren't haunted, so did someone die in him or not? He's shown in flashbacks to be like the others, no mentions of doubling as a suit, so this is weird. Oh, and yeah, there's some photo frames and poster art in the backgrounds that are clearly either commissions Tony was paid for or friends of his. They're really distracting and out of place in most if not all the shots they're in. Might just be a small nitpick on my part, but I just really don't like them being there. It kinda takes away from the scenes rather than adding to them, you know? Anyway, he emphasizes with Mangle's loneliness and tells her to marry him so they can rule the pizzeria together. Yeah, it's kinda silly. Mangle understandably refuses, but Springtrap reveals that he has a remote that can factory reset Foxy if he's within 10 feet of it. And since that would basically kill him, Mangle is pretty much forced into the arrangement. I don't understand why it had to be marriage. He could have just asked her to be his partner and called the ring a friendship ring or something. Maybe it was done to fit with the theme of romance going on, but it just feels dumb to me. While the trio meet up with Freddy to get some extra help, a bug reports to Springtrap, don't ask, and he reveals his backstory to Mangle. He explains that he and Fredbear used to run the pizzeria, but Freddy showed up one day and started suggesting new ideas and expansions for the place, including new bots, don't ask how that works. But Fredbear wasn't a fan and tried to kill Freddy! I'm guessing they had Twitter back then if this is how he solves his problems. Well, all Fredbear accomplished was getting himself killed and his best friend ousted from the restaurant for helping him, even though it didn't seem like Springtrap wanted to go along with it in the first place. So he snuck into the warehouse and spent years finding a way to rebuild Fredbear. He managed to find all the parts he needed except for a device that's basically his brain. Turns out, it was somehow used for Mangle. I guess the budget was low at the time. So Springtrap plans to use Mangle to power Fredbear. She's horrified, but quickly accepts it, probably not seeing any point in fighting back. This scene right before Springtrap reactivates Fredbear is honestly my favorite in the whole thing. The music, the facial expressions that say everything, Haley Nelson's performance as Mangle, the execution of everything here is great.
I had everything I could wish for. Foxy loved me, and I loved him too. It was the beginning of something new, and now it's all turned. I miss my body. I miss my friends. I hope they will forgive me. I hope Foxy will forgive me. I forgive you, Springtrap.
It's just a very, very well done scene, in my opinion. Of course, the others find the warehouse and are confronted by Springtrap and the newly revived Fredbear, who the Psycho Bunny sicks on them. This is where the final jump in art and animation quality happens, and honestly, it's really impressive. Minor jank aside, and I do mean minor, everything looks great for being drawn and animated by one dude. Some fighting happens, Foxy is enraged by Mangle's power of state and impales Springtrap with his hook. But while he tries to explain to Freddy that Mangle is somehow inside Fredbear, Springtrap presses Foxy's reset button and effectively wipes his mind. I thought this was FNAF, not N-Town. Freddy succeeds in getting through to Mangle and Fredbear's unconscious, which revives her while putting Fredbear back into his lifeless state. Freddy locks up the door to the warehouse and Bonnie quickly restores Mangle's body and tries to repair Foxy. But he isn't exactly successful. Foxy apparently has no memory, but Mangle is hopeful he'll remember who she is and have feelings for her again. But he smiles and holds her hand, so either he's trying to comfort her, or he's suddenly cured. I don't exactly get what Tony was trying to say with this ending. Where was the night guard during all this again?
See, my beak is removable, so I can put more things in my mouth.
Now that we've got all that out of the way, do I think this is worth your time? Yeah, sure. Of course, it's flawed, but it's a free online animation made by some dude, mostly by himself, apart from the backgrounds and voice acting, in the mid-late 2010s. It's not fair to criticize this the same way you would criticize something like Murder Drones or Hazbin Hotel, which were made by full, albeit indie, studios which have much bigger teams behind them and much, much larger budgets. So, what's Mr. Crynight been up to since the series' conclusion? Well, he still draws and animates, mostly FNAF stuff now, but nothing close to the scope of the series. Mostly just small-scale fun little shorts. He did start a sequel, but I'm pretty sure he's abandoned it by now. Maybe he shouldn't have started a new series right after finishing the first one. I could only assume he was burnt out and didn't realize it until it was too late. Just left the project dormant after the 3rd episode. Also, I think he may have a thing for crazy chicks. I mean, same. But variety, you know? Ultimately, I wish Tony a good future with his channel and whatever else he chooses to do. And if he sees this, hi, hope you're having a good day, man. Anyway, I hope some people take Tony's progress throughout this project as a sign of encouragement to continue in their own creative endeavors. Because if he's anything to go by, improvement is an inevitability. Or something like that.